Hey, this is attorney Elizabeth Potts-Weinstein. Today we're going to be going through 12 different companies who all offer LLC formation services. And I'm going to share with you which ones I recommend, which ones are fine, and which ones I don't recommend for you at all. So the companies that I'm going to be reviewing for you are, in no particular order, Northwest, LegalZoom, Taylor Brand, Swift, Doola, ZenBusiness, Bizee, CorpNet, Inc. Authority, Nolo, Rocket Lawyer, and Harbor Compliance. These are all companies that advertise a lot on Google, on YouTube, etc. And so you probably have seen at least some of these names. Two of them I am an affiliate of, Northwest and Doola. However, I recommended them way before I was an affiliate, and they provide zero say on what I say on my videos. By the way, there's one of these companies that actually I am no longer an affiliate of because they tried to tell me what to say on videos. So I'll tell you about that too. So before we get into all the different companies, okay, we need to talk about how to actually evaluate this, because I'm not going to be here telling you there's just one company to use and the rest of them are terrible. Because the thing is, different companies are appropriate for different situations. So you need to first think about what are your needs and what are is your situation, so you know which one is a good fit. So first, what's your budget? Do you have $0 to spend, or you need something that is the literal cheapest as it could possibly be, even if the customer service isn't that great and you're going to get upsold a lot? Or do you actually have hundreds or even $1,000 or $2,000 and you'd rather pay someone to handle it all? You're going to get good customer service. You can talk to people on the phone. It's going to lower your stress, etc. That's a huge consideration. And obviously there's things in the middle. It's not like it's $0 or $2,000. It's there's also ones that are, $100 or $250. You know what I mean? But the idea is that where are you on that spectrum? Do you have more money and you want to save time, energy, stress, whatever? Or do you have no money and you're willing to take on a lot more stuff yourself because you don't have any budget at all? Related to that is, are you someone who's going to do a lot of your stuff yourself, or do you want kind of a more one-stop shop? So especially if you have a lower budget, you may go here to get this little thing and go here to, that's your LLC formation. Then you're going to go somewhere else to get your website. You're going to go somewhere else to get your address and somewhere else to get your EIN. You're going to do that yourself. And you're going to go somewhere else to get this. Or do you want to have one place where you go and they do all that stuff for you? And what is all that stuff? There's some of them that all that stuff means they're also going to get your EIN and they're going to help you with business licenses. Some of it, you're also going to do other things like taxes and accounting and help you set up the bank account. Some of them, they're going to do all kinds of stuff like get your email address and your website and things that are seemingly unrelated to legal stuff, but they're related to starting a business. Different people are different. I am the kind of person where I don't need everything to be in one place. I actually kind of feel like I lower my risk by diversifying things. But for other people, that's overly complicated. They want to have a one-stop shop. They go in and they pay this company $2,000 and they do it all, right? So it depends on, your tolerance for complexity, right? How much time do you have versus how much money that you have? You also need to think about what kind of customer service you need. Do you need a company that you can call them on the phone and a human being will answer? You can schedule an appointment with them. Do you need a company that has access to lawyers where you can talk to the lawyer, or access to CPAs or tax people or whatever it is? You can have meetings with them. Do you not need any of that stuff? You want to do everything by email or by chat or online? You're like me, an introvert, and you don't even want to deal with that. You just want everything to be done on the computer. Everybody needs a different kind of level of customer service, right? Related to that is, are you someone who's comfortable with how business is done in the United States and how taxes work in the United States and how legal stuff works in the United States, or not? Because we are a bit, have a headache in a certain kind of a way that is a different kind of headache than other countries are. So if you're not used to how the United States is ridiculous in many, many different ways, it may be helpful for you to pay someone to handle a lot of that stuff because you're not familiar with it, especially things like taxes. In a lot of countries, for your personal taxes, the government just tells you how much your taxes are and you pay it. We don't do that here. You got to figure out what your taxes are and file forms, and the government tells you if you're wrong and you go to jail. It's usually you don't go to jail, but sometimes people go to jail. Most of the time you just have to pay a fine. And even I have been wrong and had to pay. I haven't ever had to pay a fine, but I had to pay interest and penalties. Penalties is kind of like a fine, but less scary of a word. But I've had to do that because even as a lawyer, I screwed up sometimes. So it's something very important to think about, where was your comfort level on this? And related to that, you may decide you want to hire an accountant to do your books and your taxes or whatever, but you want that to be separate than this. Or maybe you want it to be just one-stop shop, you hire one place and you're done. So think about what your needs are. Related to that, what is your need in the short term for what you want the result of this to be? So what I mean is, do you need this set up so you can do what? So you can get your Amazon brand registry, so you can get your PayPal set up, so you can get your banking set up, so you can file a trademark application, whatever is your next step, and then tailor which one of these things you are using to be appropriate for that next step. And the last thing to think about is, what speed do you need? Do you need this set up ASAP? As soon as it possibly can be done, like today, okay? Because you have something that's happening. And so you need this set up so you can get the funding, or so you can stop the person who's infringing your work, and whatever the issue is. Or do you have a couple weeks? You're not even ready to launch it anyway. So everybody has a different level of speed, and all those things, of course, that I just listed are all related to money. So the more money you have, the more money you can spend on convenience and lowering your stress and getting things done faster versus if you have none. So sit down and think about all those issues, and then review all these different businesses that I'm sharing with you to see which one is a good fit for you. Let's go ahead and get into the reviews. Now, I'm going to be looking at a number of different things. So what is the price? What's included at the kind of lowest level, which is their cheapest or free or whatever it is level? What are the extras that you might actually need? And then what are kind of the weird things they're going to be trying to upselling you that aren't really related to forming an LLC, but they also provide as a company? What kind of stuff does this company do? Do they just do formations of businesses? Do they do also kind of related stuff like taxes and financial things? Or are they going to try to sell you random things like website hosting? We're also going to look at what's the sign-up experience like. I'm actually going to kind of pretend to sign up for all of them and see what that process is. We're going to look to see, do they have a phone number that you can call? What is our customer service like? And then we're going to look at what ongoing things do they offer, things that require a monthly fee or an annual fee, some of which you may need, some of which you may not. And then finally, doing a little bit of due diligence about the companies just to make sure they are all legit. I'm not super worried about this particular list, but you may come across companies who want to form an LLC for you, do website hosting, file a trademark for you, and some of them are not legit companies. So I'm going to show you what I look for. All right, let's go ahead and get into them. I'm doing them in alphabetical order. So the first one is Bizee. So Bizee used to be called Inkfile. I suspect that they rebranded to Bizee because they do more things than just incorporate corporations. Obviously, besides LLCs, they do a bunch of other things. So first, let's look at what are the kind of things that they do. Business formation. Let's make sure we're clicking on this. Business formation, form different LLCs, nonprofits, S corps. They can do an address. They can do trademarks. I mean, just a lot of different services, all pretty much related to the legal stuff of forming a business. Then under business management, they also have services that can help you with managing your business, such as registered agent, filing an annual report, certificate of good standing. These are all things that you may or may not need as a business owner. So now let's look at how to actually form an LLC. All right, pick the entity, LLC. I'm going to pick California because that's where I'm located. Start my business. What happens when you do that? Okay. So here is the pricing. And for each of these companies, I'm going to look at their cheapest thing. How much is their cheapest thing cost and what's included? And then we're going to look at the upsells. So for their cheapest thing is $0 plus the state incorporation fee. It's to prepare what needs to be filed. You get a 1 year free of registered agent services. So registered agent service, what that is that in most states, not every state, if you form an LLC or corporation, you have to have a agent that is registered in that state to accept legal documents on your behalf. And the reality is this will hardly ever happen where you get served legal documents. But in theory, if you get sued, the state wants you to say who can accept those legal documents on your behalf, especially if you're like a virtual business or something. So you have to hire someone to do that, or you can do it yourself. It can't be a virtual address. It has to be a physical location address. So you can be your own registered agent, you as the human person, but you have to give the address of where you actually are. And if you work from home, maybe you don't want your home address on the record. So you may hire someone to be a registered agent for you. And that's what I actually do for my LLC, which owns on my YouTube channel. So free registered agent service for 1 year. The value of that is typically you're going to pay $100 to $200 for registered agent services. So there's a value in that. Free 1 month of virtual address service. Then they have a whole bunch of like upsells, expedited filing, business contracts, getting your EIN, having an operating agreement. You get some online dashboard, a business banking offer, tax consultation. I don't really know what they do. That is Form 2553, which is if you're going to have your business be taxed as an S corp. So here's the thing. What are these things do you actually need? The 4 weeks that it takes to form the business is a very, very long time because California has online filing. Almost all states, maybe all states have online filing. And so you could go in there and file it online right now. And it has to get reviewed by a human. In California, not every state does. Sometimes it gets automatic, but California gets reviewed by a human, but it just usually takes a few days, maybe a week. So the 4 weeks is a very long time. And part of that's because it's free and they're trying to upsell you into expedited filing so you can get it done in 4 business days, which is obviously how long it really takes. If you need to do any of these other things, obviously getting an EIN is probably something that you're going to need to do. You can do that for free yourself online on the IRS website, assuming you have either a social security number or an ITIN, but you might need some of these things. Operating agreement. In some states, that's legally required. In California, it's not, but generally speaking, you want it. Let's say I'm just going to do the basic. I'm going to see what it's like to sign up. Get started. Okay, what's your name? This is the name of my business that's incorporated in New Mexico, so I'm obviously not going to be doing this. Is it going to be managed by an LLC member, one manager, other managers? That's probably something that you may not know if you want. And since this is not a lawyer, this is just a filing service. So it's hard to know if you're going to want. So 4 business days, we're trooping the cheapest thing every single time. 4 weeks filing time. Okay. That's a long time. Then you put in a contact person. Let's see. Do I have to put in a phone number? Oh, wow. So you have to consent to your mobile getting texts from them, which I don't know why you would need that, but looks like you have to have a phone number and allow text. So hold on. So company address information, virtual address first month free. Then it's $29 a month. So we're going to use our own address. And then I'm going to put in a fake address. Do not use this one. Okay. Do you want to have EIN, operating agreement, banking resolutions, contract? So these are things that you may or may not need. There's other ways to get them. So I'm not selecting anything because I'm always doing the cheapest option. Okay. So the subtotal $390 package discount. No thanks. Select number of members 1. Individual, and that's going to be me with my address. That's fake. By the way, you have to put a real address when you do it. I'm just using fake addresses for the purpose of this. Okay. I am going to. Okay, I'm going to act as my own registered agent because I'm always choosing the cheapest option. No, I don't need them to do an EIN. Then they have some kind of thing with Bank of America. No, do not call me. Electronic delivery, that is fine. We don't need anything to be faxed. I'm not interested in getting your tax. Then it's trying to see if I want to do the business license. That's another $99. Okay, so you can see here the order summary is $75 for everything because I declined a gazillion things, right? And then it can put in a credit card, okay? So they do have a phone number over here so that you could call. Their phone support is available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time. Now, this is a real company and I have vetted before. I've actually did a video reviewing them in the past. So here it is $75 and that is just the fee. Everything else is free. Now, they're going to try to upsell the heck of you. You had to give them your phone number. Obviously, you give them your email address and they're going to be trying to upsell you because that's how their business works. Their business works by having a very low fee in the beginning and then they upsell you later. And that's actually how most of these businesses work. So one of the things I always do is look at the business to make sure it is a real business. So Bizee, powered by Ink File. Let's see if we can find, so we have a phone number, we have a support. So you have a couple people. On the About page, I always want to be able to find who are the human beings behind this business. So it's not just a faceless business, that there are actual people who work there. And it has a whole thing about their story, blah, blah, blah. You can also look if they're hiring people. Sometimes they'll have a thing where you can click on their corporate page. And if they're hiring people, you can see where they're hiring people if they have listings. Let's see. This is a very long thing. No positions available right now. But as you can see, Bizee is not a law firm and does not provide legal advice. Some of these actually either have some kind of law firm or lawyers that they work with, so you can get legal advice. But one of the things to remember, when you pay someone to file these things for you, you are not getting legal advice. Okay, let's go to the second one, which is CorpNet. CorpNet, I have actually never used personally. However, they do advertise, and so I've seen a lot of their ads. So CorpNet, business filings made simple, which they registered as a registered trademark. You can start a business, all your typical things, forming different business entities, DBAs, registered agent services. Then they also do a bunch of other filings for you potentially. They also have, articles and stuff like that. So they're really focusing on starting a business and running a business, the core aspects that someone will need when they're starting a new business. Choose your different options, business filing services, partnering. So you can see, so this business actually markets not just to people who are going to file their own stuff, but they actually market to accountants and lawyers who want to hire them to kind of subcontract this work, which is interesting. And I think that says something that there are lawyers and accountants and things who actually want to partner with them. So they hopefully will be providing a higher level of service based on that. So let's click on business filing services, business filings. In all 50 states, registered agent for new companies, registered agent changes, national. Okay. LLC liability, limited liability company registration. Let's learn more about that. Is upfront pricing and no unwanted upsells. Doesn't mean no upsells, just means no unwanted upsells. But I think the idea is that they're not going to be doing something ridiculous. All right, so it says upfront pricing, order now. I still haven't gotten to the price. All right, we're gonna say California, and we're going to say LLC. So what does it include with their package? Name availability check, document preparation, filing it, free registered agent services for the first year, EIN, customized bylaws, minutes, and resolutions for corporation, customized operating agreement, minutes and resolutions for LLCs, customized kit and seal. Okay, you don't actually need a seal. They were like, it seems really cool and everything like that to have like a stamp. You can seal things, but you don't actually need that in this day and age for most people, but it is kind of a fun thing to get. Okay, and then you can have some add-ons like S corporation election, which all of you might need. The BOI stuff, last I looked, it's actually paused, which doesn't surprise me considering this current administration. Researching business licenses and doing your initial annual report. So each state has a different thing. Some states you have to do annual report, some states you don't. California does have something similar to that, but every state is different. Some of them don't have that at all. All right, so let's continue and see what we're talking about. We still haven't seen a price. Okay. All right, basic, deluxe, complete. Basic is $99 plus state fees. So let's look around. EIN $69, operating agreement $99, custom kit and seal, which you don't need, $100. Resolutions, the organizer resolutions act. State fee, $75. Yeah, standard processing fee is 20 to 30 business days to your door, which is a fairly long time for a automated service. $29 shipping and handling. Oh, so they're actually not sending stuff to you electronically. It looks like they're sending it to you via the mail. So because of that, you have to pay $29 for shipping and handling. Everything can be done electronically, so I don't know what has to be. And then a 3% convenience fee. I don't know what that is. That's for I guess that's to use a credit card. Okay, so this is the cheapest thing. So what do you get here for $99 that you don't get from Bizee? You do get some like little tools, corporate compliance tools. You do get organizer resolutions. And you're going to get stuff in the mail instead of it being electronic. I don't know. And they're going to do a name availability check for you. and you get 60 days of registered agent for free. And otherwise they charge you $149 a year. $149 is not completely unreasonable. But let's continue on that. You have to sign up to create an account. Here's one thing to see is that some of these companies, before they let you kind of go through the process, you actually have to create an account. With Bizee, it just let you keep going through and you have to put in a password yet. But these guys want you to actually create an account. Let's see. Can I do it without a phone number? Okay. I made a terrible password, by the way. Now it's going through stuff. All right. So the $99 thing, and then they add $29 shipping and handling, $75 fee, $6 convenience fee, and it's $209. Continue. Desired company name, alternate business description. So business purpose. So as a lawyer, I'm going to tell you, you don't actually have to put in a business purpose to form an LLC in California. You can just have it be for any purposes that are legal. I don't ever put anything here when I actually file those for clients, which I don't do anymore. But business consulting, what's the most generic thing I can think of? Registered agent, company management. You see they're upselling you to registered agent because it will be $149 a year. Auto renewal. We're going to use our own registered agent, which is going to be us. Manager, member managed, most popular. So they say that one of the things is a lot of these companies I'm seeing are saying that are telling you the most popular thing of a choice. Just because something is popular by people who are not lawyers does not mean that it's the right answer for you. And this is one of the dangers if you use any filing service and you don't have a lawyer consult as part of this. The choices that or you don't research it on your own or read a book or something. The choices that you're making might be the most popular, but popular does not equal correct. Okay. So anyway, company participants, I'm assuming they mean the owners. They want you to put the owners in there. Okay, so I'm actually going to stop this here because I'm just putting in a lot of the same information. You can see how CorpNet is asking a bunch of questions that are not tailored to California specifically because there's some things are not required in California. And some of the things they're asking are not needed for doing the initial formation documents. They're things that have to be filed in like a statement of information or an annual report, things like that. But they're gathering all the information now so they could try to get you to buy that later. This one ended up being around $200, including all the little fees that they have. They do have a actual real address here in California. They have multiple phone numbers that they answer, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific. You can look here at their leadership team. You know, there's actual human beings who work there, which I definitely like. And I think it's good that they do have a thing here for other businesses, for lawyers, for bookkeepers, for people to partner with them, which means that they're providing something that even those kinds of people would want to hire that out because they're subcontracting them to do the legal filings. So I think that's actually a good thing. Okay, so let's look at the next one, which is Doola. I'm an affiliate of Doola and they have sponsored some of my videos. Doola, I highly recommend for people who are outside the United States. And we're going to go in through and I'm going to show you how their stuff works and kind of why I talk about them as people from outside the United States. All right, let's look at it. Doola. Doola.com, Doola is for doers, and they have a whole bunch of different things that they offer. They offer formation, primarily it's formation services, bookkeeping, taxes. They're really sticking towards that formation, bookkeeping, tax thing. That's all those things that are related. Let's see. So let's look at formation. They do have a free consultation. I highly recommend that if you're thinking about Doola doing the free consultation. And this is something that some of these companies, how they bring you in is just you sign up online, which might be the right decision for a whole lot of people. And some of them, there is a phone number to call. Some of them, there is a consultation appointment that you can get. There's a free consult for the system together. There's a free consult for just to do taxes or whatever. There's nothing wrong with getting those free consults because then you can get some more information that will be helpful for you as a business owner. Okay, so start your business. Let's get started. So a lot of these sites now have these little sign up things. We're going to close that out. I'm going to put in, let me see, do they have pricing here before I sign up stuff? Okay. So here's one thing that one of the reasons stop doing a chat with me. One of the things that I like about Doola is that they don't think that you're here in the United States. So you can set up your information. You can start a company in any state. They will have these various business documents. They will help you set up a bank account through one of their kind of partner banks. And this is something that's a big issue because if you're outside the United States, you're trying to form a business inside the United States, one of the big difficult things is how to get a bank account if you are not here, boots on the ground. And there are some resources for that. One resource is Mercury. That's where I do my banking now because they're so easy to work with. And you have a passport, you can get that kind of account. Okay, so they give you more information to figure out. Plans and prices. All right, starter. Oh, you're going to make me sign up for it. So the starter, I'm going to go through the sign up process a little bit, but the starter one is $297 a year because that includes registered agent services. So it's formation, registered agent, virtual address. The idea is they're helping you put together a little package for exactly what you need so you can get a bank account. So that is one thing when I was going through the Bizee, I did not select getting a virtual mailbox. You'll need an address. So that is something to think about is, do you want to do these things all piecemeal or do you want one place that does everything? And that really just depends upon, who you are as a person. Do you like to put everything together in like a package or do you like to deal with different places? And that's a personal decision. United States, I'm going to form it. I'm going to do an LLC. So do you want an S Corp right now? We're going to say no. So if you're from outside the United States and you're not a permanent resident, not a U.S. citizen, you can't do an S Corp. California, state fee, $90, franchise tax board. Okay. What options do they have? The starter one is the cheapest one, which is $297. They do have these different other options. So they have a total compliance, which adds bookkeeping, business analytics software for some reason, CPA consult, state and IRS tax filings. So it's $2,000 a year. That's putting a lot of stuff in there. And if you want everything done for you, that could make a lot of sense. Here, we're sticking with the cheapest thing. Business in a box also adds a bookkeeper. So this is $329 a month, obviously, even more, but you get a bookkeeper to do all your financial stuff. So this comes down to, do you want to hire a company to do everything or do you want to just do piecemeal stuff? No answer is right. So we're doing the cheapest one for the purposes of this review. So then what happens next? Do we want it to be expedited? No. So their non-expedited is a week or more, which is not really that long a time. Unlike the other companies where their non-expedited is a month. That's kind of ridiculous. So what is due today? Starter and state fee, $387. So their lowest one is obviously a bit more. They do include a few more things and they're specific because they're also including the other documents that you need to get a bank account, because that's kind of how they're marketing it, is that it's a package. So you have everything that you need, including the address and stuff like that, so you can open up your bank account. Okay, so let's move on with the next one, which is Harbor Compliance. Okay, so Harbor Compliance is really set up for people who are trying to manage a business that is in multiple states. So this isn't necessarily going to apply for all of you. They have a number of different services. I know I actually have used them as a lawyer. And the idea is that if you have a office in one state and then you have an employee in another state, you have a location in another state, you need to register as a foreign LLC in another state. They are really specializing in that kind of a thing. So let's see if we can, they have compliance software. Like for example, you may need to get business licenses in a bunch of different places. They're really working on stuff like that. So let's look at their services, LLC Formation, and see if you can actually just use them to form an LLC. So starting at $99 plus state fees, order online, get started in minutes. All right, let's see what we have to do to get the thing set up here. All right, what do you want to name your LLC? EPW Media LLC. What state? We're putting it in California. What does this say? Yeah, okay, some more little information. We have employees. We're going to say no. Okay. So how does this work? Service fee. We check your name. It's available. We prepare and file it. The state fee. Then here they're actually giving the options for if you want to do it expedited. It's going to be rare that you actually need to do that. Most of the time it's fine to do this. 5 to 7 business days. Sometimes it's actually a lot faster than that. Sometimes it's slower. In California, it just depends. Registered agent services. Registered agent for $99 a year. That's a very good rate. You could also appoint your own registered agent, which is what we're going to collect because we're doing the cheapest thing. File your initial report, $175. So your initial report is actually called in California something different, but this is something that is required to be filed within the first 90 days after you form it. We're going to pass on that for now. I think $175 is a bit high, but I think it's good to actually know how to file that yourself. Do you want us to manage this for you? So we want to do it $175 a month. I mean, a month, $175 a year. And then do you want to get your EIN? Nope. Actually, what did this say? Oh, so here's the thing. If you actually need to get a TEIN, so let's say you are someone outside the United States, so you don't have a social security number, you don't have a tax ID number for yourself, then they can actually handle that for you and charge you $150. That actually is a really good idea. If you don't have a social security number or an ITIN, you don't have an individual tax ID number, then you can't really use the online filing. And so it's much better to pay someone to handle the EIN for you. But let's say you're a US citizen and you're gonna do it on your own. S Corp. We're gonna keep it as not being that operating agreement. We're gonna pass on that for now. Relay. This is simplify your business banking. So, this is like some sort of banking solution. No. Next, this is actually who I use for my insurance. So I actually like them, but we don't need to learn about it right now. And business accounting with Xero. I have used Xero in the past. I am not against using Xero, but we're not learning about it more. So this is something that is really important to understand. Something that's really important to understand is a lot of these companies who are charging you either $0 or $99 or something really low. The reason they're able to do that is because you are the product. Remember, anytime you get something for free or a really low fee, you are the product. They are either selling your information or giving your information, or they're getting money from other people. That's the reason it's free. I mean, just look at this channel. I'm giving you all this advice for free. How am I able to do that? Because there's ads, right? There's ads. And then also some people will sign up to be a client of mine. And then some people will sign up for one of, for Doola or Northwest or for Next or any of the other places where I am an affiliate. And then I get some money from them to compensate me for that. And so the idea is that if something is free, there's always money being made somewhere. And so it's important to understand that. So if you go with one of the other companies, like the ones I recommended, they cost a little bit more, but are they sharing your information? That's something to ask them and to make sure, because different companies change their policies all the time. You can dig into their privacy policy, you can talk to them and see if are they sharing your information and find out, are you the product? Okay, so now we're going to look at the next one, which is Inc. Authority. So Inc. Authority is one of the other ones that says that you can start your LLC for free. So let's go in and see, is it actually for free? So here we can register free online, free LLC registration, registered agent, EIN, 24-hour processing, custom-built website domain, and email. So here's the thing about some of these places, they have kind of like a website and domain and email are kind of random, right? All right, free LLC, online services. They do a lot of the typical things with legal stuff, tax preparation. They also have other things like revocable living trust and trademarks, so they get into other stuff. No, I do not want to talk to you. And actually, let's check on why free LLC. We waive everything. Oh my goodness, too many pop-ups, I will say that. We waive everything. Why do we do this? We want to earn your trust and get you as a customer. The thing is, they're telling the truth. One of the things that all these companies do know is that if they get you as a customer and they do a good job, you're not going to switch because it's a freaking hassle. Once you're in their system, it's great if you can just stay in their system and have them handle all your stuff for you, right? So they are willing to invest money into getting you as a customer. So it's not just that they're going to sell your information or whatever. Some of them don't sell your information. However, they're going to upsell you on their stuff, okay? So that's how it works. But you can take advantage of it and get a free LLC. So let's see. LLC, and we're going to put in California again. Is this your first business? We're going to pretend that it is. When will we be open? 90 days, let's just say. We'll be hiring employees? No. Will your business be accepting credit card payments? So one of the things is all these questions are about what other things are going to sell you, right? So will your business accept credit card payments? This is about they have probably a relationship with, you know, Stripe or some company that has a merchant processor to accept credit cards, and they're going to try to sell you that. Name of the business. Okay, Elizabeth. Oh, we're not going to send text messages. It's good. Name of business, EPW. Oh, no, we don't want a space. That's terrible. Business type. I'm going to put entertainment. Actually, we're going to put consulting, right? That's what we did. Consultant. Business consultant. Yes, we're a citizen. Dear God, does not send me texts. It must be at least 20 characters. Business consultant for small business owners. How about that? Is that 20 characters? So some of these places, as you can see, actually have you put in the entire address. My shipping address, same as my business address. So you can qualify for a free service. Oh, we have to pick one of these. Okay. So let's pick the EIN, let's say. The EIN. Okay, we'll add that. Subchapter S, no. Operating agreement, no. Legal documents, no. Minutes and revolutions, no. 24 hours, no. Web address, no, that's random. Free custom website, no, that's weird. I don't know why your LLC place is doing your website. Compliance, I don't actually know what this is. I'm going to say no because I don't actually know what this is doing. Good standing with your state, removes the guesswork. I'm going to say no because they're going to start charging you for it. It gets 1 year of free registration service for $199. So $199 is getting towards the higher end of registered agent things. You can get it for $100. You can get it for $125, $150. That's, I think, more of the normal amount. So you can see how they're making money is they're going to start being able to charge you $199 per year, like forever, right? That's kind of what they want. Save and continue. Do we need a business? No, we don't do business. America. Okay, here we go. Standard delivery, electronic. I don't know why you would need stuff delivered by the mail. It doesn't even make any sense. Registered agent, EIN, $70. Okay, so there you go. It actually is free. And it's just another example of one of the places that, yes, it actually is free. It's just that they're going to be upselling you and trying to get you to sign on for the registered agent stuff forever. However, for their free thing, unlike some of the other places, you either can get 24-hour turnaround or you can get an EIN. So that's nice. So that's a little bit extra. Now let's check out the company and make sure they're legit. Okay, let's go back to inkauthority.com and scroll all the way down. Who are these people? Okay. Become a partner, I think, is their affiliate program. Contact us, privacy policy. They do have a phone number, so that's good. Careers, let's see. Can you get a job there? Benefits of working there. I do not. Our company, about us. Let's look at that. About us. We were created. They have pictures here, which are hopefully real pictures. They do a bunch of different things. Meet our team. Oh, that's just going back to the main thing. If you look at their contact us, it's a form, but they do have a phone number and an address that seems like a real place. One thing you can do also, if you're not sure if the place is real, you take their corporate address and you put it into Google Maps. So stick this in Google Maps. Here is the building. So you can see this is a building that has a lot of different people in it. Let's go on Street View. So it's like one of these kind of generic buildings. There we go. Ink Authority. They have a real office. They really exist. Okay. If you're not sure if a company really exists, get their address and see if they have a real storefront. Now, I don't have a storefront and I exist, but the thing is, we're not talking about hiring an individual lawyer that you're going to be actually be talking to and have a relationship with. This is kind of hiring a faceless company in a certain way. So you want to check to see what are the things about them that are legit. You don't have to have an in-person office to be legit, but if you do have an in-person office, it gives me a bit more faith if I've never heard of you before. Now we're going to do one of the big ones, probably the biggest one, LegalZoom. Okay, so LegalZoom, I have had a lot of feedback from people who have used LegalZoom, including clients of mine who have had a very bad experience. I'm not saying everyone does. I think some people have a perfectly fine experience. One of the things is they do a super incredibly high volume. All right. LegalZoom, I think, is the biggest player. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they're the biggest player. They definitely are around for a very long time in the, online world. And so they have a very big volume, and they also do a lot of advertising and will come up in a lot of search results. I personally don't recommend them for forming an LLC because I think you can go to somewhere, if money is a thing, you should go somewhere else because it'll be cheaper. And if customer service is a thing, you should go somewhere else because you can get better customer service. Okay. So I don't really see a reason going LegalZoom for forming an LLC, but let's go in and look and see how much they're charging nowadays. So you can see that they do a lot of things. They start your business. They can do personal legal stuff. Also have like plans for you can get advice from an attorney. Like you do this like monthly plan where you can get advice from an attorney. That is one thing I think is a benefit of LegalZoom. It's possible to talk to a lawyer. So if you need advice, you need to talk to an attorney, it is possible to get that from them. They also do trademarks and other legal matters. They do patents and things like that. So business, forming an LLC, and you can see the other kind of business stuff they do, very typical. All right, start your LLC with confidence. Please stop doing a pop-up. All right, basic, 0+ state filing fees. All right, and then we have Pro, which gets you a lot more stuff, including EIN and unlimited 30-minute attorney consultations, 30-day subscription, right? You get a subscription for free for that first month. All right, let's do the free one. We'll validate your name and letter. No need to add the LLC. I'm just going to add it and see what, I'm going to get so many sales calls after this video. We'll keep you well compliant to avoid setbacks. Okay. Regarding old files. All right, so what is their plan? I actually want to look and see what their plans are. Okay, so here's the other things they wanted you to upsell to. Operating agreement plus EIN, plus e-sign, for legal documents. So we're not going to do any of this, but these are typical prices for these things. Bank account, they also have a thing with Bank of America. No thanks. 1-day expedited processing. No. Founders kit. What does that include? Oh, you get like a binder and stuff. You don't actually need that, but I mean, if you want that, then that's cool, but you don't need it. Okay. Basic package, start site compliance, billed annually after your 10-day trial ends. Okay, what? $199 a year? No thanks. So you see, you have to like undo that, right? Okay, your total today, $70. Write it off. LLC setup costs are tax deductible. And then going to checkout, I think, is going to be just putting in my information. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, we're not doing that. Now, I already know LegalZoom is a real company. They already exist, everything. The thing about LegalZoom is they are not the cheapest for a lot of things. They are doing the $0 LLC formation. But for things like ongoing stuff, like a registered agent, the last time I looked, they were like $249. Actually, let's go ahead and look at that right now. Let's look at registered agent services. Get a registered agent. Yep. So it's, I didn't do that. For $249 a year. $249 a year is way too much. You can get it for way less than that. That's actually my problem with LegalZoom, is that I've had a number of people come back and have a very bad experience with them. But the bigger thing is that's more consistent and objective, is that the $249 a year is for everybody. It's not like one person or two people or half a dozen people had a bad experience, because a lot of people don't, of course. $249 a year is way more than you need to pay. You can get one registered agent stuff for $100, $125, $150. I wouldn't go over $200. It's just, they're all providing the exact same thing. It makes no sense. Okay, y'all. Now we're moving on to the next one. This one is Nolo. So Nolo is a publishing company that publishes a lot of really great books about legal stuff. So I highly recommend their books for learning about legal issues. They have tons of legal books about both personal legal things like buying a house or whatever, and they also have legal books about forming an LLC, starting your business. Their stuff is great. They have great templates. Highly recommend their resources for do-it-yourselfers. But they also do have some other things as well about forming an LLC. So I'm just going to go to their main website, nolo.com. You can see that they actually are not really promoting themselves as just forming an LLC. They actually have many different things. So they have all kinds of legal issues where they have articles. They're actually, generally speaking, very well written, and I highly recommend them as being articles about topics that are not just, AI slop or anything like that. It's actually, legal stuff. And then they have all kinds of books like I talked to you, and they also have a find a lawyer kind of system. So in here, like I know that they do help people with LLCs, but I actually can't quite see, obviously, from their website how it even happens. So let's dive into their articles, business formation. Let's do forming an LLC in your state. Let's pick California. All right, here are the 7 steps you need to take. So this is really nice, has a really nice article about the things that you need to do. I agree with the things that they say that you need to do. And then you get down to the very bottom, after all the different pieces of information, the very bottom, it has, what would you like to name your LLC? So let's put in Best Consulting LLC. Begin my LLC now, and let's see what happens. We're gonna put this in California, and then we're starting a new business. We're gonna have just 1 member. We'll have employees, no. Okay, so here are their packages. All right, so their fastest service is $2.99, standard is $149, basic is $49. So what do you get for the basic? LLC name validation. They see that the name is available. File the orders of organization, which in California is the thing you have to file, right? Automated error checking. They have some automated thing to make sure that you haven't filled out the wrong stuff. They do have customer service phone support. So this is really nice for those of you who want to have someone to talk to on the phone, and then you get some kind of guide, okay? Then the standard one, you also get EIN and business forms, and then for the express, you get the records kit and seal, which I told you don't need to do, but you may want to, because you may want that out if like you personally would be excited about having that, but I never use my seal anymore. That was something that was important a long time ago. And then priority rush filing. So you'll generally receive your final documents in 2 to 3 business days. Otherwise, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get your documents. So here, let's select basic and see what else comes up. Would you want to add an operating agreement? So I'm going to say no. Generally speaking, so it's $50 for an operating agreement. Now, actually, Nolo will be a great place to buy like a book about starting your LLC. And they have some states like California, they actually have one specifically for California, and then they have templates in the book, and sometimes they have digital templates you can get like a code for or whatever, and then you can use that to do your operating agreement. I think that is a great way to do operating agreements and contracts and various other forms. And then you get like a whole bunch of stuff instead of just like one, right? Registered agent, we're gonna say no just for the sake of the argument. It's $150 per year. That's a reasonable amount for a registered agent. Other ones are cheaper. Then they have a bunch of add-ons. They call them essential. They are not. So business license, there's companies that will help you do your business licenses, accountants, website hosting, no thanks. We're going to skip that. And then here's the package. So it is $49. There's a fly in here. $49 plus the $75 California fee. Continue to check out, and then we would put in all information. So one thing I do really like at this Nolo site is that they're fronting it with teaching information, articles, how to, and then just saying, we will help you with this if you want some help. And I do like the energy of that. I also like the fact that I didn't have to give them any of my contact information for them to get all the way to the shopping cart and tell me the price. Because as you know, I find that very annoying. Now, I have no idea how good their stuff is. And they're not saying that a lawyer is helping you with this. It's really just a filing service, just like most of them are. They do have a find your lawyer system in here where you can get a consultation, and it's just matching you with other lawyers who have decided to sign up for this. So if you're a lawyer and you want to be in their lawyer directory, then someone can click on that to grow their practice. Martindale Nolo is put together. I forgot about Martindale. Martindale used to be a really big thing for lawyers to get your Martindale listing because it was like the directory of like all the lawyers in the United States. And I totally forgot that even exists because I never use that anymore. But because I just Google somebody. But back then it was like paper and you like looked up who the lawyer was to make sure they were an actual lawyer. It's a different world. Anyway, so lawyers can be part of this network. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily like cleared. It's just that this is like thing that they pay for to get leads. So just to kind of give you an idea, most of the referral services they don't like make sure that lawyer is good. Some of them they do evaluate them, but a lot of them the lawyer's just paying to be in that listing. Nolo is a good company. No idea how their LLC stuff works, but I think their publications are excellent. All right, so let's go down to 8. The 8th one, which is Northwest Registered Agent. So Northwest Registered Agent, I have been working with for many years. I've been recommending them for many, many more years than that. And in the beginning, they were just doing registered agent services, and I was recommending them to my clients for registered agent services where they are your registered agent with that particular state in the states, which is most states, but not all, that require you to have some kind of registered agent. You can also be a registered agent yourself, as I have talked about before, but you have to have your physical location address be in the public record, and you may not want that, especially if you have a business from home. But Northwest has started, and I mean, when I say has started, I mean years ago. They started also doing other things too, including starting an LLC, corporations, all that kind of stuff. Start an LLC with Northwest. Now, I am a affiliate of them, so if you click on the link below, then I get a small amount as a referral fee, but I have recommended them for many, many years. So I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from them about their high level of customer service. And I even secret shopped them by paying them to form an LLC that I actually still have. It's the LLC that owns my YouTube channels. And they did very good customer service where they emailed me, they called me on the phone to make sure that things were, being done correctly. I really valued that level of customer service. Okay, so how does it work, start an LLC? So they have this start an LLC kind of, their basic thing is $39 plus the state fees. And then in it, you get a free year registered agent service, which a lot of them do that. You also get some extra things. One of the things I've really liked about Northwest is the address that they give you for the registered agent stuff. You can actually also use as your business formation address. A lot of registered agents don't give you that permission. You have to have the permission to use that address for your business formation. So, and that's what I did for File My LLC, is the address on my LLC as like the business location is actually Northwest's registered agent address in that state. They have addresses in every state and sometimes in more than one place in that state. Northwest, start an LLC, California. Yeah, there you go, California. What would you call your business? Best Consulting LLC. Oh, I think it has it there. LLC. By the way, I always do LLC unless the client really wants something else, because putting in the periods or abbreviations, it is something that's harder to remember, and isn't easily fit in forms. LLC is really the best. You don't have to though. Okay, we're starting with LLC. Oh, look, it's putting it in the little form. Nice. Okay. Does an initial street address. We're going to use their address. Okay. Yeah. And so it is $125 a year. They're going to be the registered agent. Oh yeah. We're going to have them fill out the form. And then it's this person named Nat Smith. And then we have to create the account to keep moving forward. But the idea is that it is $39. We're going to click on this so you can see. It is $39 plus the state fees. Privacy by default means that you're using their address instead of your address for the registered agent. For the address, you can see in here the address for the business, both the mailing address and the location address. So this is really helpful for y'all who are working from home. You don't want your address in the public record. This is one of the ways to keep it out of the public record. And then it'll have the address be, in this case, in California, be in Sacramento, which is where the registered agent address is going to be located. Most of the time, it's going to be in the capital city where they file those documents. That's where they're going to have a registered agent address. Now, after the first year, you'll be paying $125 a year for registered agent services. And how it works is they will, automatically renew you for that until you cancel, which is pretty much how all these guys work. They're really looking at it from the perspective of building a relationship with you such that you keep renewing year after year. Okay, so now we're going to move on to number 9. This is Rocket Lawyer. Rocket Lawyer comes up a lot if you're Googling like templates for contracts and things like that. They're one of the big companies that has those kinds of templates and forms. Now, side note, I actually recommend US Legal Forms for contracts and forms, not because Rocket Lawyer is bad, but because US Legal Forms, you pay like one fee and you get like thousands and thousands and thousands of forms for that one monthly fee. Now, if you literally just need one form, Rocket Lawyer, you can also be a member of Rocket Lawyer and get forms too, but US Legal Forms was less expensive the last time I looked. And they've also been around for a very, very long time. Okay, so Rocket Lawyer products, business registration. Okay, register your business with confidence, being your LLC, corporation, or nonprofit. Side note with that is a lot of these places do not help you form a nonprofit. So that is something that if you're thinking of forming a nonprofit, you will have to look for somewhere that specifically does it. I actually have never helped someone form a nonprofit. It is a specialty that I do not handle. And there's a lot of areas who specifically work in the nonprofit area. All right, let's go. Let's do this. Who's the main contact? So they start out by me having to give them my information. I have to give them a phone number. I actually did not have to click text me, so that's good. All right, what am I going to set up? An LLC. It is going to be in California. What is it going to be doing? Consulting. Whoa, consulting. The industry consulting. How would you like to get your new tax ID numbers? This is the EIN. Do I want to pay them $70 to do it or do it myself? I'm gonna do it myself. Make Rocket Lawyer my registered agent. We are gonna click that because I wanna see, is it included at all or not? I don't need to file a trademark. Do I need express? No, I do not need $420 to make it express. Okay, here's all the stuff. I'm gonna see how much they're gonna charge for this. Okay, choose your membership. So their membership for Rocket Legal, it is either 0 for 7 days and then $239 billed annually, or 0 for 7 days and $40 per monthly. Then the business registration fee is $99, but it discounted it. Registered agent services is $240 and $124. So due today, $194. And then you'll have to get this Rocket Legal membership and also the $125 a year for the registered agent. So it does not look like you can use this without getting Rocket Legal membership. I mean, if you want to have Rocket Legal to do all your contracts, templates, forms, all that kind of stuff, then that may make a lot of sense to you. US Legal Forms is cheaper. And also, I don't like the idea that you have to get a membership to use their stuff when you haven't even used their stuff today. So very much not into that. Also, it says registered agent service, you get it for $124.99. I hate when people do 99 cents in their things. It's $125. And then, but it says billed annually $249.99, so $250. This makes me concerned that they will raise the fee to that after some discounted initial period. I can't tell if you will be, like it says, you're agreeing to $194 today and then $239 a year for the membership, and then also $124.99 for the registered agent service. And it's all, discounted, whatever, but when does it go back to the regular price? Yeah, so not into that, not excited about Rocket Lawyer. As I said, I would use US Legal Forms if you really want someone to help you with forms. Okay, let's go on to the next one. The next one is Swift. There's multiple businesses named Swift. There's a business named Swift, which is about buying insurance, and that has like 2 F's in it. This is Swift Filings. And so Swift Filings is about actually doing filings stuff for your business. So just, if you Google Swift, you get multiple things that come up. All right, Swift Filings, best in class, business filing, $0 plus state fee. So we have another one of these $0 things they claim. You get legal templates, address privacy. All right, let's click on this and see what happens. Okay. Select your entity type, California. All right, choose your package. So they also have a 0 plus $70 filings fees, 3-week processing and standard shipping. these places are shipping you paper documents. Everything's electronic. I don't even understand. Okay, standard is usually $199, but $149, 5-day processing in standard. And then premium is $249, usually $299, same day and expedited shipping. You're qualified for the limited $50 off. So for the basic one, you don't get the custom digital LLC kit. Don't even know in the world what that means. Custom organizational minutes. LLCs don't usually have minutes. You can have like resolutions that are created by the LLC, but usually don't do minutes. It's more of a corporation thing. You get 7 days free to all their forms. It looks like their forms are like one of the big things that they're trying to sell you. Let's see. Custom LLC operating agreement, they're charged $35 for. Getting your EIN is $70. Then of course we talked about the expedited processing, and you can add on a professional business address and a virtual mailbox. So for that $0, you really don't get that much. They're forming it for you, but you don't actually. Let me go back. Are you getting a registered agent for the first year or anything like that? I don't even see anything talking about a registered agent. Free business tax consultation with 1-800-accountant. Well, actually I saw on one of the other sites, so they must be really pushing a lot of agreements with a lot of these companies. And trial of compliance guard, which is your annual report, business amendment, and corporate meetings manager. Stuff like that I think is really good for corporations because there's a lot more stuff you have to do with having minutes and memorializing a lot of things. But LLCs, one of the great benefits of an LLC is that it actually has a lot less requirements like that. So, I don't really think that you need that for your regular LLC. Most complete package of them, we got $1,000 at a fraction of the price. Okay, so let's form the basic LLC. Best Consulting LLC, continue. It looks like it should be available. Yeah, because that's a terrible name. All right, I have to, then they make me, I do not want you to SMS me. I actually didn't agree to even the privacy policy, but it let me keep going, which I think is interesting. Business consulting? No, not adult entertainment. Oh my goodness. I never intend to have employees. Okay, here's the registered agent service. Let's see. When appointing the registered agent, you'll be charged $149 within 3 days. So it's free, but there's no registered agent included. So they charge you extra. Where some of the other companies, it's either free or low cost, and you get 1 year registered agent. So this definitely costs more. I'll appoint a different registered agent. Secure your business. No thanks. I'll do that on my own. No, I'll make my own operating agreement. I'll wait for standard processing. No, I'll do my own bank thing. Bank of America has a lot of agreements with a lot of these companies, obviously. And if you're looking for banking and you don't already have a banking relationship with somewhere, I highly recommend Mercury. It's all online, so you don't get anything in person. And that's one of the things that Bank of America does. That's great if you need in-person things because you're going to be depositing cash or something like that. But if you don't have anything like that, it's going to be all online. Mercury, I think, is the easiest, and you can set it up even if you're not a U.S. citizen, and you don't even have to do anything in person. Bank of America, you're going to have to go down there in person, and that is, if you're doing things in person, that's fine. But if you're not, very inconvenient. I even had to do it just to open up a new bank account, and I've been a Bank of America customer for literally decades, and I was opening up a new banking account and I had to go down there in person to prove my identity. And I'm like, yeah, you guys have known me for like literally decades. Anyway, okay, the amount due now is $70, which is for the California state filing fee, but this does not include a first year registered agent or any of that kind of stuff. So not a big fan of that because I don't think it's a very good deal. Compliance Guard is the annual subscription with a $199 charge after the 14-day trial. And it looks like they added it without me even saying. So I have to go back and unselect that. So that's something you really have to be careful with a lot of these companies. Like they selected this Compliance Guard that's $200 that I actually didn't want. What was the Compliance Guard? I don't even know. They do 1 free annual report amendment filing per year, plus timely alerts. Yeah, $200 is a lot to file a statement of information in California. It's a simple thing to file. All right, let's go on to number 11. Number 11 is Taylor Brands. This is a company that actually I think approached me to do a deal with them, and I was like, you guys annoy me too much. Taylor Brands, at least at one time, had a very big relationship with many people on social media, on YouTube, Instagram, what have you, probably TikTok, but I'm not on there. So they have a lot of people they're working with who are affiliates. So let's see what they are going to be doing with me. Oh no, we're creating a guide. I don't want to have guidance. I just want the answer. It's going to be professional services as a consulting and business consulting. What stage are you in? Taking the first steps. When are we going to launch? In a few weeks. We're operating from California, 94112. This is some random San Francisco address. We're going to hire employees in the coming year? No. Is it registered LLC? No. So here's all the things you already have. So this is going to be all the stuff they want to sell you, right? So they want to sell you just so many things: business bank account, website, email, digital business card, just a lot of stuff. I'm going to say none. We're going to see how much how did I discover it? Other. Okay, now it's going to analyze my answers. I'm assuming some AI is doing this, right? Now it's going to try to sell me a gosh awful amount of stuff. Here's the things that we think that you should do. What? Okay, protect your business assets by forming LLC. Cover is legally required to have 5 licenses and permits, 1 local, 3 state, 1 county. No, is not. I do not need 3 state licenses to have a consulting business. I'm 100% sure that's not true. An eye-catching logo, it's year-round report, blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness. Okay. Did you just go back to the beginning? Okay. Why aren't you selecting it? Okay. What is this even, a business card? Do you want to join the 12-week coaching program? No. That's just a Google Voice that goes straight to voicemail, by the way. No, I'll do it myself. $99 to do an EIN. Do I want to be compliant? $199 annually. No. That's to file your annual report. Do I want a toolkit? No. I don't want a domain, logos, website, and online store. I'll be getting that somewhere else. Expedited filing for $49. No. Getting an operating agreement, $29. No. Order this kit. No, I do not need a $100 notebook. I will follow up myself. Let's see. Okay. Light LLC plans, what they called it. So $0, $75 fee. So they didn't, invoicing and bookkeeping. Try free for 30 days, $30 a month after. So you have to unselect. Now, something here that I don't see is it doesn't talk about registered agent services. Like, do you get that? I don't see registered agent services in here at all. Maybe that's part of annual compliance. Oh, I gotta turn off this. Try for free 30 days, $30 a month after. So I have no idea if they're doing registered agent services. So I already knew I didn't like Taylor Brands, but yeah, it's not that happy about it. Now they do have a phone number. That's awesome. It's not a 1-800 number, so I guess you're paying long distance for it. I mean, does anyone pay for long distance anymore? I'm not quite sure. All right, let's go get the last one. ZenBusiness. ZenBusiness is another company that has many, many different things. They have starting oh my goodness, no, please go away. Registered agent, bookkeeping. I actually have heard of ZenBusiness, I think first through their bookkeeping stuff. Domain name, registration, tons and tons of things. All right, let's click on this. Oh no, they have an AI. Please don't do some kind of AI thing. All right, Best Consulting LLC. Select your date, California. It's me. Some launching soon. Business consultant. Okay, so registered agent. You'll be charged $190 when your formation is complete and billed yearly thereafter. I want to appoint someone else. Okay, so what I said to not do the registered agent. All right. Okay, so starter, it's $0. They do your filing. We check to make sure your name is available. They have customer service by phone, email, chat. That's good that you can call them. LLC filing, name available. Okay, so Pro is $199 a year. We do it in 1 business day. They get your EIN for you. They give you an operating agreement. Premium, priority, and AI built website. You can get that somewhere else. Business template, business domain name with privacy, business email address. That's when you're going to have them do completely, unrelated things. but none of these actually include the registered agent. So the registered agent is $200 a year, $199. That's on the high end of registered agent services, and it's not included in any of the plans. Like they don't have it free for the first year or low cost for the first year or any of that kind of stuff. So if unless you're going to do your own registered agent, which you might, you can do the starter program for $0 and be your own registered agent, and then it really is $0. But otherwise, you'd have to pay the $199 if you want them to be the registered agent. Oh, and this pro and premium are actually per year, which means that renews every year, and you get what? I don't even understand what you need after the first year, because if you don't form a new thing every year, you might not amend anything every single year. It can make sense to hire a company to handle compliance and bookkeeping and taxes and all kinds of things for you. But there are only certain things you need every single year. A lot of stuff like forming the business and filing amendments doesn't happen every year, so it doesn't really make sense to worry about that. Okay, so bottom line, for all these different companies, like I said, I don't have one recommendation that I think is the best, because I think different companies have different strengths and weaknesses. All these companies have some benefit to what they are doing, but generally speaking, as far as which one of these are good in certain situations, if you are looking for the best customer service and you're here in the United States, Northwest, I think, is a really great option. I am an affiliate of them. They are not the cheapest, but fairly inexpensive, very reasonably priced, and they're not super annoying with trying to constantly harass you to buy more stuff from them. You can also call them on the phone. If you are looking for literally the cheapest cost, there are different ones that are super cheap, but Bizee is one of the ones that is the $0 filing initially. And they're going to try to upsell the heck out of you, but you can actually do it for $0, except for the filing fees for your state. Inc. Authority is also one of the $0 ones. That's also in the same level of not a lot of money to get started. If you're going to be needing to do filings in many, many, many states, I recommend Harbor Compliance. They're going to be not the lowest cost, of course, but if you are going to be operating in many different places, so you're going to need to have a registered agent and register as a foreign LLC in many different states, I think Harbor Compliance makes the most sense because they really specialize in that kind of work. And then if you are from outside the United States, you're not going to be here boots on the ground in the States, but you want someone to help you form your LLC in the United States and help you especially also manage things like accounting and tax and all that kind of stuff and various compliance things, then I highly recommend Doola. I am also an affiliate of them. So I will have links down below for all these different companies, including, and I will highlight the ones that I particularly recommend. Now, I do also have tutorials for forming an LLC yourself. But the thing is that a lot of people are not comfortable doing that, and they really want to pay someone to help them to make sure that they're figuring out how to file everything correctly and put the right things in the right blanks and actually make sure everything gets done. And that is another advantage of using one of these filing companies, is that they will have checklists and things for all the different things that you need to do, because they want to upsell you to hire them to do those things. But you don't have to hire them to do those things. You can just use their checklist. So again, this is attorney Elizabeth Potts Weinstein. If you have a question about any of these companies, or you have your own personal experience with any of these companies that you would like to share with everybody, please feel free to post that in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. I will talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.